Good morning. It's Friday, August the 28th, and this is Wisdom for Your Week. As tame as it seems in the political climate of our day, the Watergate scandal is one of the most infamous political events in American history. In June of 1972, burglars were arrested inside the Democratic headquarters where they had bugged the phone lines and stolen documents. The scandal would eventually lead to the resignation of a U.S. president. It is often said of Watergate that it was not the initial crime that doomed Richard Nixon, it was the cover-up. Instead of coming clean about the crime, he impeded the investigation. The same thing could be said about sin in our life. It is not so much the initial sin as it is the cover-up. Solomon addresses this problem in our verse for today. Proverbs 28 verse 13 says, "He who conceals his sins does not prosper, but whoever confesses and forsakes them finds mercy." The question for us as Christians is not, will we sin? As long as we reside on earth and not in heaven, sin will be an unfortunate reality. The question is, what do I do when I sin? How do I respond to the knowledge of my sin? In this verse, we see Solomon allude to two people. Both sin, but they respond to that sin in opposite ways. One person conceals that sin. They ignore it, deny it, justify it, excuse it, rename it, defend it. All of that is concealing sin. And the result is clear. They will not prosper spiritually. They won't make any spiritual progress. They become stuck spiritually because of their refusal to come clean about their sin. And their fellowship with God is broken. The joy of their salvation disappears. And again, in true Watergate fashion, it's not so much the sin that's the issue, it's the cover-up. The other sinner in this verse reacts in the opposite way. He confesses and forsakes his sin. To confess means that we agree with God about our sin. We say, yes, I did it. I have no excuse and no defense. I'm guilty just as you say I am, God. But we can't stop there in dealing with our sin. We must also forsake that sin. That means to abandon it, to throw it away, to leave it behind once and for all. If our confession of sin doesn't include abandoning our sin, then we really haven't confessed. It takes both. But when we do that, we receive God's mercy. That means God has compassion on us, and He doesn't give us what we deserve because of that sin, and that's a good thing. And so remember, the question is not, will I sin? The question is, what do I do when I sin? And that's wisdom for your week.